Okay, a new Star Wars series on Disney Plus. It is Obi-Wan Kenobi. We talk about episodes 1 and 2 called Part 1 and Part 2. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd, and Star Wars, when I first saw it, was in a theater in my hometown, it was an afternoon showing early on before it got all the incredible press, and there may have been 15 people in the theater when I went to see it. And it was phenomenal. It was a whole different kind of science fiction that I had ever seen before. By this time, I was already pretty much a Star Trek fan. This was in the 70s, so of course, Star Trek had been off the air for a while. The animated series has been there, and it was before the motion picture. This created a whole new universe with kind of a modern day fairy tale. You have a princess, you have the pure evil incarnate in Darth Vader behind a black outfit and a shiny black helmet. You have the Wonderkind who's going to save the world as we know it, and Luke Skywalker, his buddy Han Solo, and other characters. And in this one picture, they are able to establish a galaxy far, far away and create all kinds of new aliens and characters. And it was very simplistic. It was very shoot 'em up, but it was most enjoyable. They created their own religion in the Force. There was a lot of innovation here. There was the only thing that I saw picked up from Star Trek is when they dropped what they call proton torpedoes. Obviously, just a change of lettering from photon torpedoes. But other than that, it was a very original kind of put together science fiction. Now, it had borrowed heavily from Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers and those Saturday serials in the movies, which I never saw except on television, which were afternoons after school. We had usually a Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers short, and then that would be followed by Superman, the old George Reeves Superman, and that was all started about 3:30 after we got off from school. But I digress. We have a full tale in Star Wars. The sequel, The Empire Strikes Back, and later Return of the Jedi, make it kind of a hero's journey where you have establishment of the characters in Part 1, the temptation in Part 2, and the resolution in Part 3. And unfortunately, it became just so financially lucrative that they had to go back and film the backstory. Now, just about every kind of long story has background to it. You work backwards from the characters you've created to explain how they got there. And in this case, they used that to film the first trilogy. Well, where did Darth Vader come from? How does he become Luke Skywalker's father? Where did Obi-Wan Kenobi come from? And so was Yoda there all along? All of this goes together pretty well. We see something about Wookiees. We see Jedi in their full glory in the previous sequel. People have some problems with how the first sequel was done, but that was, in fact, basically filming the backstory. Then they had to invent all new story of what happened 20 years later to all of the characters, and they were able to do that. There have been things in between. Rogue One, which I have not seen, honestly. The Mandalorian, which was done very well. And after the success of The Mandalorian, they thought, and of course, of the various animated Star Wars series, They decided that live action was very successful thanks to Grogu, Baby Yoda, in The Mandalorian, and they come in with the Book of Boba Fett. And while it had its good points, it dragged on and really didn't really go anywhere that was satisfying. And I have that same concern about Obi-Wan Kenobi. It might be interesting to find out what happened to him between the time that he was sent to Tatooine to keep an eye on Luke and some adventures in between. How does he meet Princess Leia? How did Princess Leia know that his name was Ben Kenobi when she was rescued from the Death Star? This explains that in actually the second episode. But the whole first episode, all it did was basically say that Obi-Wan is on Tatooine and that Uncle Owen didn't like him much. And episode 2 is where we have the beginning of the plot, where he's trying to rescue Princess Leia, who is 10 years old and kind of a handful. And I don't know what they're at there, making Princess Leia kind of the thing of interest and very slowly pulling Obi-Wan through it. Now, there were some good fight scenes in part 2. There is a former Jedi, one of the younglings, who grew up to join the dark side and help exterminate the Jedi. And there's so many that have been killed. There are not very many left. And her obsession is to get Obi-Wan Kenobi. And despite the fact that the head Inquisitor is saying, don't waste your time on this, but apparently she wants to be able to bring Obi-Wan back to justice or whatever, and reveals to him the existence of Anakin Skywalker in the guise of Darth Vader. This is the first time, presumably, that Obi-Wan realizes that Anakin actually survived and now knows the true identity of Darth Vader. It took 2 episodes to do this. And while there were some decent fight scenes, it was mostly him running away, blaster fire, a little bit of lightsaber stuff in flashbacks, and that's about it. I'm concerned that the Obi-Wan Kenobi will become another Book of Boba Fett, and I hope that it doesn't, because it deserves better. That's my take on it. I hope that you will subscribe and, of course, leave some comments below and let me know what you thought about it. We will continue to bring you new episodes of the Strange New Worlds of the original series. And, of course, very soon we will start reviewing the new episodes of the Orville New Horizons. So lots to do this summer. Hope that you'll stay right here. And until next time, don't go far.